Trapped by the belief that I'm not good enough, bound by the limitations and the lies that consumed my world, this was me. It wasn't until I took the biggest leap in my life to know and trust the power within. And it was at that moment I made a choice. My past will not define me anymore. Hello, I am Teri and I know I am not alone in this. Over the years, I have found that the number one mistake that we make is that we get in the way of our own success story. Yes, I said it. On this show, together we'll tackle limiting beliefs, self sabotage, getting stuck, fear, doubt, overwhelm, and the imposter syndrome. Join us on this journey designed to transport you beyond your limitations to a world where anything is possible. This is Talking with Teri. Hello, and welcome back to Talking with Teri, where we have powerful conversations to transform your life and your business. And I am super delighted to have Tracy Repchuk up with us today. She is a 9-time #1 international best-selling author, world-renowned speaker in over 37 countries, published in Forbes over 23 times, internet pioneer since she had started software company at the age of 19 in 1985. She's an award-winning entrepreneur, including from the Senate, Assembly, and the White House, and President Obama. Featured expert in TV, including ABC, NBC, Fox, CBS. Invited member to the Amazon Influencer and LinkedIn Advisor programs, and a global leader in strategic thinking for increased market reach and impact. And now she can say, a guest on the Talking with Teri show. I mean,
Totally.
hello and welcome. I mean, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're so honored to have you here with us today. So we've known each other a couple years, just through, yeah, I mean, maybe 4 or 5, just from the platinum events that we attend. And
Right.
I love spending time with people that are just really serious about, creating their businesses, and just, you're one of those people. So welcome.
Well, thank you.
So I want to have everyone that does not know you yet to bring us up to speed. How did you come to where you're at, and just share a little background story for us.
Wow. Okay. So I've been in business for 35 years. I started a software company at the age of 19. So needless to say, there's a lot of story to unfold. I think the biggest starting point for me, though, was the fact that entrepreneurialism was not on my radar. I come from a very, middle type of family, middle class type of family. But it was a moment with a teacher when I was about to graduate with a degree in IT and computer programming. And he said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "I'm going to go be a computer programmer." At the time I was living in Canada, and I'm going to go to Toronto. And he said, "Oh no." He said, "You're dynamic, you're a leader, you're outgoing, you are an entrepreneur." And that moment changed everything for me, because I didn't even know what that was. And so over the next couple of days, I was like, well, what is an entrepreneur? And he said it is somebody that finds a need and fills a gap. I have operated my entire company philosophy on that sentence. And that's how I've managed to not only stay ahead of every trend that's kind of emerging, especially in technology, social media, the internet. That's why I was on it so early, all the way to being able to survive through any economic situation.
I love that you say that, because I think so many listeners on today had that similar experience. Like, what is an entrepreneur? And I would
Mhm,
say for myself, I was the same way. I'm like, what?
mhm.
But I feel like when I was young, like, I always joke that I had my first business at age 8, because my mom, she used to be a stay-at-home mom in the early days, and she would watch Young and the Restless. Probably not. I don't know. Anyways, they had this company called Jabot, and Jabot was a cosmetics company, right? And so my mom would give us her old makeup, and what we discovered is, if we would take a knife and we would pop out the blush or whatever. We'd add some water and probably some flour. Who knows what we put in there? Some secret ingredients, and then we would put perfume and other colors, and we remake it, and then we'd put it back in there, and we'd let it dry, and then we'd package it back up and we'd sell it back to my mom. She would buy it again, and we would
Mhm.
constantly there was no profit in this. Um, but but I look back and I go, gosh, you know what? That was like, that was the first time that was really kind of we were entrepreneurial, and I remember like 3 or 4 different playing that was really entrepreneurial in state. So I think a lot of people come from this place of like, what does that even mean? What does that look like? And so good for you for listening, because I think some people don't listen to that piece of it.
Yeah, well, it set a fire under me that that just didn't even think of, because I wasn't excited actually about going to Toronto, getting a job, being a computer programmer. I mean, I knew it was where people needed to be, was on this computer, but it was nice to find a different path to use it.
And you have gone and created an uber successful business, and a business model that is serving a ton of people. And so when I look at that and I look at people's journeys, and we from the outside, we only see bits and pieces, right? And we're like, oh, well, she was successful, and here she is, one moment here starting, and then the next moment she has this like incredible successful business that's running it on its own. So I know that there's a path for all entrepreneurs that is not always the easiest, most laid out, thought out, even with our all good intentions of having it that way. So, what were some of the challenges, that you saw early on in your in your a journey, and then we'll touch base kind of like some of those later challenges too.
Well, early challenges were very straightforward. Like, okay, yay, I want to be a business. It's not like today. Oh, you get a laptop, you get a computer, yay, you're open for business, right? No, it was like, okay, I need $25,000 for a computer. I need $8,000 for a printer. The startup costs were astronomical because this is 1985, right? So I had to get loans to start that up, and then started operating from my parents' business. Sorry, from my parents' basement, and then I now had to go get clients, right? Because there wasn't the internet. There, you were face to face. There was no other way. And then so I started to pound the pavement and reach out to companies that I knew needed what I was about to do. And then there came the next barrier. I would be presenting my offer for training and technology and accounting software against, in the same room, Ward Millette and IBM and all the big boys, Cooper's Lybrand and me, right? And I looked 12 years old, and I was a girl in a man's world. I had
Hmm.
entered software, that was the man's world, and what I was doing was 100% in man's world. And so there were two major barriers I had to overcome, and of course, ultimately, I did through finding the piece that was always missing, or that they couldn't deliver, that I was able to do. I was constantly seeking out unique selling propositions. What makes me different? How can I beat out giants? In that situation. And then so there were two. So there was never anything easy going into the business that I had created. But one of the things that allowed me to learn quickly was and again, this comes down to being a computer programmer. I have a very logical driven, structured brain. I then came on and did a certified management accountant's designation so that I could also understand numbers. With those two things, I was allowed to really create formulas that other people weren't doing. And again, that's one of my drivers, and that's how come I can make my clients so successful. Is I create an actual step-by-step formula for everything that I do, and that's how I also was getting contracts.
That's brilliant. So as you're climbing and as you're growing your company and your business, there's also a parallel process that happens, which is I'm growing and expanding, overcoming those challenges and barriers, just from the logistics standpoint of it. But there's also this parallel process that says, it's the personal development. So how were you? I mean, what share with us like some of those mindset challenges that you had to overcome, or the personal development that went through this for you to step into really your the gift that you're bringing to the world, and the potency that you're bringing to the clients that you serve, and the people that you connect with?
Well, in the early days, there was very little personal development. That was hardly even ever talked about. Being in the software industry, there was no sharing, there was no open coaching, there was no help, so to speak, right? It was all secretive and behind the doors and all of that. That didn't happen. I really ran by the seat of my pants for all of those early years. I wish I'd had a mentor for how to be a better CEO and how to be a better this. I had to move into the sales position because there was nobody selling. We were all happy creating websites and creating software programs, and nobody was out there selling it. You do what you have to do, and at that time it was so I had to overcome major barriers to sales, to me being at the front of the company, things of that nature, simply out of survival. It wasn't really until I stepped into the arena of internet marketing back in 2006, that all of the personal development, all of the coaching, I couldn't coach myself up fast enough. I thought this was the most greatest. I can have a mentor that helps me with this, a coach that helps me with that. I can, do spiritual development in these areas. All of a sudden the entire planet opened up for me, and that's where I literally catapulted from moving to the US in 2006. Within 1 year, because I had all that support, all of a sudden I went from, writing a book in 30 days, number one on Amazon, winning new internet marketing success of the year, getting flown, all expenses paid, from California to Singapore to appear on my very first stage in front of 3,400. That made me a speaker all of a sudden. I then got booked with the World Internet Summit and started to travel around the world, me and 15 men, whole other barrier. And all of these things occurred where one, I was now a woman in the internet marketing industry where there were none, and two, I had just blasted and catapulted forward because of the investment I had now made in myself.
I think that's brilliant to see the before and after when there wasn't resources. But I think there's always, I truly am a big believer in that things happen for us, not to us. And that, that time in that space in between was really about you figuring it out, right? And there's some massive value in that. I literally was just talking to someone 2 days ago, and we were talking about some of the challenges I had even in I was a first year graduate student, or first in my family to go to college. And I had tons of barriers getting to that place and space with my then career counselor that was supposed to help me. And long story, but shut that door to me because of some, I'm certain some of his own personal things. He didn't think that what career path I was choosing at the time was what he would recommend for me. And so I had to figure it out. And there's definitely some struggle, some stress, some uncertainty and all of that stuff, but we had to figure it out. Right. And so I just think that that's a testament to you of your, like, your tenacity of like, I'm not going to give up. Like I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to muddle through. It's not going to look pretty and sexy, but I'm just going to get through. And like you said, like going into survival mode. Right. But then you transition into this place and space of, the support. And it is such a game changer for folks that, I think I used to believe, or I should say I had a mentor one time, and he says, Teri, you do not have to be the Lone Ranger, because I thought that that's what I had to do. Like, I got to figure this out. And so once you start to open yourself up to receive support and guidance, and I mean, it can be a game changer. I love that you can see kind of night and day, kind of how you I mean, not that you didn't explode overnight, but it was a long, because you had been planting seeds up until that
Mhm.
point. But it's pretty profound of what that community can do for,
Yeah,
you know I
yeah,
love
it
it.
was.
So now, you're continuing to grow and expand. And I think this has been a fantastic journey for yourself. What, for the listeners that are listening, what are some, a couple nuggets that if if they take away nothing else from this conversation, that they can take away some practical, something that they can implement today to help support them, whether that's on that personal journey or even on the career path of their business. Because I would say most of the people that are listening, they're women, female entrepreneurs, or either business owners, and then we also have some C-suite executives on here as well. So what would you share with them? Some of your moments of wisdom here.
Well, I would say one of the things I discovered, and I'm going to say 6 years ago, was I was getting surrounded by unbelievably powerful and successful women who were broke, and it was driving me crazy. And I dismantled, I reverse engineer everything, and I polled and surveyed and took a look at, their businesses, and they had all the pieces. Two things occurred. They had all the pieces, but none of them were strung together properly, right? So they were out of sequence. And then the second piece was focus. They would constantly be so dispersed, doing so many things, because women are natural multitaskers, but to be a natural multitasker in your business is suicide. And so
Agreed.
I
Agreed.
pulled women back 6 years ago and started to teach one major thing, and that was take the knowledge that you have, take the processes that you're coaching and consulting on, and create an online course. And so back then, I created a program called Your $1,000,000 Design: How to Create an Online Course Guaranteed to Sell. And unbelievable successes. It's game changing for women to stop the run, the one-on-one, and save those for the top of the funnel. Because the other thing that was happening is there was no bottom feeder of the funnel except for a freebie, right? Well, that's not enough. We need them to know, like, trust, and fall in love with you. And so when you build an online program, this allows that to occur, to where it naturally builds a market funnel, where now you got the coaching, the group coaching that you take them through. You've got the drop sell to the do it yourself version of the program. You've got the break apart do it yourself to the program, and you've got the upsell to the one-on-one coaching. The entire marketing funnel from that one model absolutely unfolds effortlessly and allows you to create this six-figure business. So this is what I've been doing for the last 6 years with women. That's my seed, is please take what you have and put it online. And didn't, when, of course, the pandemic and COVID hit, those that had that still had the ability to make money and naturally feed their business without networking, without speaking on stages, etc. And so they were safe. Now I'm in the situation where many women are not. And so I'm working even harder to say, I can help you. And even as a free gift, I have a mini course they can do so they can see the formula for themselves.
I love it. Can you share with us that link? And then we'll put this in the show notes as well. So just
Awesome.
yeah, put the share it out loud so we can hear it. And then we can also attach it to the show notes too, because I'd love to have people go and check that out too.
Perfect. Perfect. So it's jointracy.com, just joinmyname.com. And then there you can register for a free step-by-step process on how would you do this? How would you do what I just said?
I think that's brilliant because I think, again, I go back always, like the biggest challenge that I find women entrepreneurs have is going back to the mindset piece. And that's a big element of it, because these other aspects, right? The tools, the strategies, I mean, these are here for us. They're very teachable, right? And so, it's a dual process. Get this clear so that we know what you're looking for, like what's your purpose, what's your passion, where you're heading to, and let's be really clear about keeping yourself in alignment. And then here's the skills, here's the structure, here's the template in a lot of ways
Yeah.
to create that, because I think we need both
Hmm.
simultaneously to make that
We
really
do.
successful.
Mhm.
And I love talking strategy. I love talking systems. I mean, I
Me too.
just love it. It's not my zone of brilliance though. I've done it, I've created, but it is not. So folks that have not put this in place, reach out to Tracy. She's absolutely brilliant. She has helped transform tons of businesses that I personally know that has worked with you. And so just what a game changer when you have the systems and structure to be successful. And I think that's you, like you said, people have the things, but the right things on the, it's kind of like having
Yeah,
the puzzle pieces out there, but the puzzle has not come together. And
correct.
so until we get those puzzle pieces together, it's not going to cash flow the way
That's
we
it.
want it to.
That's right. It's creating busy work and
Again,
confusion.
yes, yes, and then it creates that spinning sensation where people are just
Yeah,
spinning and, like, throwing spaghetti out
yeah.
on places, and for me, I was the same way, for my second company that I opened, like, I had all the pieces, and then, like, a friend of mine goes, "Well, you," she's like, "You're further along than you think," because 'cause I'm like, "What's not working?" And until we got
Mhm.
them to piece up and then, like, okay, and I had a hard time, like, I needed to see it visually, like, I'm like, "Okay, what are you trying to tell me what we're doing? Like,
Yeah.
draw me a
I'm
picture,
very visual.
like,
Everything that
draw
I
me a
create for my
picture."
clients is in a flow chart that they can watch and see
Yes.
with everything, because that's how I process as well. And again, it probably goes back to my programming days of diagramming everything, right? It
Yeah.
has to be diagrammed because that will also let you see any gaps.
Yeah. No, I love it, and it's brilliant because when you see it on paper, because 'cause I'm like, "Okay, help me understand this. Now I
Mhm.
see it. Now I can okay, I got it. Like, let's go with it." So, brilliant. Okay, so Tracy, thank you so much for being here today. We're gonna put your contact out information down below.
Great.
Real quick, can you share is that the same website or is that a different website for you for other ways to reach out to you?
Oh, there's tons of ways to reach out to me. I mean,
Okay,
any social media platform with my name at the back end / Tracy Repchuk, tracyrepchuk.com. And of
perfect.
course, the Join Tracy.
Awesome. Well, I so appreciate your time and your contribution to this world because we know that you are helping an amazing amount of women being able to transform their lives. And I see on your back of your backdrop here for the folks that are just listening, it says online transformations that empower influence. I mean, bam, right? That I mean, so thank you for being who you are and the contributions you're making and being an inspiration for others. I look forward to connecting to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Teri.
I am so grateful that you joined me for this episode. If you've enjoyed this, then there's just one thing that I would like you to do. Click to subscribe and leave me a rating and review. As my way to thank you, let's connect for a free consultation. Just reach out to me at talkingwithteri, that's TERI.com to book your time.